Hi, I'm Wendy. Welcome to Baby on Board. This video is for grandparents. I will talk about the changes that have happened to parenting practices since you had a baby and why. Of course, as a parent, you always do the best that you can and follow the advice at the time. Now advice has changed, so congratulations on being a grandparent, the perfect relationship. One of the things that has changed are breastfeeding practices. Previously, families were sent home from hospital in the Western world with free formula in goodie bags. However, during the 80s, a lot of research into breast milk made people realise that breast milk is better than formula and protects babies. In fact, a breastfed baby is 5 times less likely to get sick in the first year. So current practices of feeding frequently on demand is what it takes to get feeding started successfully. This generally settles down to fewer feeds once feeding is established. Free formula is a thing of the past as breastfeeding is actively promoted. You may remember sterile water was given to breastfeeding babies in the first few days in the 70s and 80s. This has stopped because it was realised that babies do not need anything other than their mother's milk. Giving water can make babies confused about how to latch to the breast, and babies getting water tend not to put on as much weight as exclusively breastfed babies. One of the most significant changes is the position that the babies are placed in when being put to sleep. In the 70s and 80s, babies were settled on their tummies or on their sides. Research has shown that babies settled on their backs were less likely to experience a SIDS incident. No one is quite sure of the mechanism, but it is thought that overheating and upper airway obstruction have something to do with it, which is more likely when lying on your tummy. Other risk factors are passive smoking and not breastfeeding. So current research-based advice is to always put babies to bed on their backs. The approach to crying has changed considerably in the last few decades. Leaving little babies to cry between feeds if they did not settle has been shown to have a negative effect on brain growth. The developing brain being flooded with cortisol, which is the stress hormone, is thought to have a link with future anxiety. So the practice now of being very hands-on and responsive when settling, particularly in the first 6 months, is a recommended way for healthy brain growth. Babies are not sophisticated enough to be manipulative until much older. Controlled crying, even with older babies, is not recommended. A gradual approach works, allowing babies to get used to settling differently. They will not be spoiled by being cuddled frequently. In the 70s and 80s, solid food was introduced a lot sooner than now. People even started putting cereal or pureed vegetables in the bottle at 6 weeks. The downside of early introduction of solids is that it can predispose babies to some diseases such as celiac disease. Babies receiving solids too early may not drink enough milk, and before 6 months, milk is more important for growth and development. Another change is a go-with-the-flow attitude. In the 70s and early 80s, feeding for hourly and routines were quite rigid. Current practices are to follow babies' cues for the first 3 months and have a routine from about 4 months onwards. Previously, bathing baby every day was normal. But until they start solid food, babies do not get very dirty, so it is fine to only bath babies once or twice a week and top and tail in between. By top and tail, I mean just wash baby's face and bottom. The most helpful thing that you can do as a grandparent is to avoid negative or critical comments and offer practical support. Doing housework or cooking and being available when you can to babysit will help your child on their parenting journey. Making positive comments can do wonders for parenting confidence. Congratulations on being a grandparent, and I hope you spend many happy hours with your grandchild. If you found any of this information useful, please like and subscribe. Do share your experiences in the comments. Our next video will be on settling a baby night waking when over 1 year old. Hope to see you then.